Hi, and this is the reading for this first Sunday in Advent, that season of the year when many Christians begin their concentrated preparation for a Christian Christmas. And I'm glad to be reading to you from Luke chapter 2, sharing that with you. I wanted to read a whole heap of it, but there just isn't time. So I'm going to jump over a big chunk. And so I'm going to miss out two of my favourite characters in the Bible, Simeon and Anna. And I'm just going to hope that you are just going to want to read for yourself when we're not doing this. So I must press on because of time. I need to make a couple of points before we begin reading, I think. One is that we know very, very little about the childhood of Jesus apart from this. I don't know what you would imagine the childhood of Jesus is like, but it seems it was a very ordinary childhood. He didn't go to the play group or nursery or school and do lots of miracles and teach people about God and stuff. But bear in mind, if you knew a perfect child, unless you're perfect yourself, you wouldn't recognize that perfection in a childhood. So what we're saying is not that Jesus wasn't a perfect child, it's that nobody would be equipped to recognize his perfection. So he just lived a very ordinary childhood. And part of an ordinary childhood with devout parents, such as he had, was the rhythm of the life of their faith, which included the annual visit at the time of the Passover feast. It's a visit that would have taken them 5 days to walk there from Nazareth, 5 days to walk back. So it's not something you could do many times a year, but we do need to recognize the significance of the temple. It's the only place on the planet in their faith where sacrifice could acceptably be made, valid sacrifice. And valid sacrifice is key to that faith that they lived. Okay, so going to Jerusalem, really, really important. Here we are then, two instances, one at the very beginning of Jesus's life. He's 6 weeks old or thereabouts at the time, and then one from when he's 12, visits to the temple. Verse 22 of Luke 2. When the time of their purification according to the law of Moses had been completed, Joseph and Mary took Jesus to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. So that's the 6-week-old child. Here's picking up later from the same incident to close it off. When Joseph and Mary had done everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong. He was filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. Every year, his parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the feast according to the custom. After the feast was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they travelled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" Or we could translate that, as I would prefer, about my father's business. But they did not understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favour with God and with people. Let me invite you to join me now for a few minutes reflecting on applying that scripture to our understanding of the faith and the way we live it out. Hope you'll join me.